Hello and welcome to another edition of Soulful Saturday. I am your host, Jima Hill Cook with Kimji Counseling and Consulting, as well as the author of Reflections, What I Know to Be True, a 30-day devotional. Before we get started, let me just remind you of a few things. Please follow me on all things social at Kimji for the Soul. That's KIMJE, the number 4, thesoul.com on all things social. Please continue to email me your questions, concerns, and comments at Jima, that's JEMA, at Kimji for the Soul. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time out on your Saturday to be with me on today. I am so glad that you are here, and I'm excited to continue our topic on forgiveness. One thing I do want to say before I go on, and that is that I am only licensed to practice in the state of Texas. So if you're out there and you are looking for a therapist, I can only see you if you're in the state of Texas, but I do know people around the country, so I might be able to point you in the direction that you're needing. But once again, I am only licensed to practice in the state of Texas, okay? All right, so here we are on another wonderful, soulful Saturday. Oh my gosh, I am so excited again to be here with you on today, and thank you so much for taking the time out to be with me. So last week, as a recap, we talked about forgiveness, but we talked about self-forgiveness, right? We talked about forgiving ourselves and what that means, to offer ourselves permission to forgive ourselves for the things we said, didn't say, didn't do, even the things that we allowed to happen to us that we probably felt wasn't all that good, but we didn't quite know how to pump the brakes and say no. And I also want you to know, as we were talking about self-forgiveness, that it is such a personal journey. Forgiveness in itself is so personal. Everyone gets to that level however they get there. Their journey is their journey. And so although I talk about forgiveness in the traditional sense of the word in terms of what it means to forgive, and that was one of my challenges to you, was to ask you, what did forgiveness mean to you, right? How would you describe and define forgiveness? So I hope you took some time to think about that. I also thought it would be a good idea to come up with your forgiveness journal, maybe a list of names or situations of things that you wanted to forgive people for that you had not. Now, that's another personal thing. You don't have to do that. Here's what I want to say. However you get to the place where you are healing and you have peace and you have joy, that's what's most important. For some of us, it's a journal. For some of us, it's just, I'm done. For some of us, it's, I'm blocking you and I'll never have another conversation with you again. For some of us, I don't even think about you. However you get there, whichever way leads you to your place of peace, of healing, of joy, that's what I want you to find, okay? So there's no right or wrong way to do this. And there's not, it doesn't have to look like anybody else's way. However you choose to participate in giving yourself peace and joy and love and healing, have at it. However that shows up for you. As I stated, for some of us, it's the journal, it's the writing, it's the confrontation. Some of us, as I stated last week, this journey might take you down another path. And so you might need some additional help to help you navigate these new uncharted waters. So do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to seek out someone that can kind of help you a little bit as you are on this journey. So I just wanted to say that up front about forgiveness, that we all get there a different kind of way. And you might not even call it forgiveness. But whatever the thing is that you call it, that's giving you peace, that's giving you joy, that's allowing you to heal, I am all for it. So one of the things when I do talk about forgiveness in the traditional sense, in terms of what it is, we know that forgiveness is a decision, whatever you call it. It's a deliberate decision. You've made a decision not to, right, allow something to continue to happen. But it's also a way that we get to release those feelings of resentment, that we get to release those feelings of anger and even vengeance. Because if you're truly over something, you really don't think about that person or think about doing anything to that person or to those people, because you really block them. Literally, you know you've blocked them, and you know the reason why. You know that the thing they did to you was so unforgivable and unforgettable. And that's the other thing I want to say. When we talk about forgiveness, it's not that we forget what happened, right? It's not that we excuse away or we condone what happened. It's not even reconciliation. That's not what forgiveness is. And so we have on some level been taught that if I have forgiven you, and I think I mentioned this last week, then that I allow you back into my world. And that's not necessarily the case. I do not have to allow you back into my world, if at all, in any capacity. And I don't have to explain whether I will or whether I will not allow you back in. It's also an internal process. That also has a lot of mental and physical benefits. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is it frees you up. It doesn't weigh you down. And so if you've truly not thinking about that person, or you've decided that those people are no longer that important to you, then that's a weight that's lifted off of you. That's not something that you're carrying around in your next relationship. If that person hurt you so badly in your previous relationship, you're not carrying that with you once you've let it go and you've forgiven them in the way that you want to forgive them. So I want to just be clear about that. However you choose to do that is okay. There's not one way to do that, okay? The other thing I want to be able to say is that you don't have to, as I said, invite the people or persons back into your world. And that's okay. That's normal. You don't have to do that. So however you choose to forgive, it is a personal decision. And it requires you to make that decision all on your own. People will say you need to forgive them. Well, in the way that I choose to forgive them, not the way you want me to forgive them. That's two separate things, okay? How I choose to forgive them is the way I would choose to do it. And it's not contingent upon anybody else. And a lot of times the reason why it's so hard for us to forgive is because we're trying to do it the way somebody is telling us to do it, and it doesn't feel right to us. It feels icky. And that's not even a real clinical word, but that's okay. It doesn't feel right to us. It doesn't feel safe for me to say, I forgive you. And I really haven't, but you want me to say it, right? So I want you to find the words that you can say that are comfortable for you, that speak to you where you are, that allows you to have that sense of peace and that sense of joy, because the joy and the peace continues to flow for you. It's not connected to any particular situation or circumstance. And so for some of us, as we're on the journey of letting go, moving people around or whatever we're doing, it really requires a separation. We actually really do remove the people from our lives. We have zero to like minimal contact, if any. And even sometimes if a person mentions that person's name to us, we're like, why are you asking me about them? Because you've really placed them in the place for you that's the safest for you and your healing. And so as we continue to learn and grow and heal, I really want you to give yourself permission to do this journey of work how you see fit. And it may not look like anything you've ever done before, and it may not look like anything anybody else has done. But that doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it right. It's what you need to do for you. So the thing about healing is that everybody that has a surgery, 4 people can go in for a knee surgery and have the same recovery plan. But because of who they are, their lifestyle, what they are doing, different things about them physically, you may approach it differently than somebody else, but you're still in recovery, right? So that's the thing about healing. We get there based on the work that we're putting in for what we can handle. And remember last week I said, you might start this journey and realize you need to take a pause. because it might be too heavy for you. It might not be in the best interest for you to continue down that journey at that moment. You have the ability to come back to that if you so choose. The beauty of being on a healing journey, that internal journey, is that you get to decide. It's yours. I often tell my clients, this is your journey. I'm just here for the ride, right? I'm simply here to help point out some things along the way that you may not have thought about, that you may not have realized is having an impact on your day-to-day, that you might not realize that the reason why you do that thing is connected to this thing, right? That's all I'm here for, to help point out some things. You have to do the work, right? And that's what we're doing on these Soulful Saturdays, is we are doing the work. We are giving ourselves permission to heal. We're giving ourselves permission to love. We're giving ourselves permission to forgive. And most importantly, we're giving ourselves permission to take care of ourselves, right? So as we continue on the journey of forgiveness and just healing, I want you to just take a moment and see how far you've already come just in this short time we've been seeing each other on Soulful Saturdays. Think about the decisions that you've already made, or the adjustments that you've made in some relationships, in some thought processes, even some thought processes you had about yourself. I want you to go ahead on and give yourself a little bit of, look at me. I am healing. And how are you healing? What do I say? From the inside out. So I thank you. I hope today resonated with you just a little bit, that you will share this. Please like and share my page on YouTube, Kim G for the Soul. Share this with others all around. I'm getting so much feedback from people liking it. The shorts on TikTok, please follow me on TikTok and go out there and like those TikToks for me. I would appreciate it. Share the YouTube channel. Take them all the way back to day one. Before, if this is their first time, this is your first time sharing it, remind them that there's 4 or 5 episodes before today. But I thank you once again for allowing me to be with you on this journey, as we are all learning to heal from the inside out. So once again, thank you for another edition of Soulful Saturday. Follow me on all things Kim G for the Soul. I look forward to hearing from you and responding to you on all things social. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy yourself. And remember, as they say, to enjoy the view.